So today, as I walk in Whirlwind Family Farm, which is our small market garden here in Central Texas, I see something that really is awesome, and I finally can look out and go, wow, my garden's really starting to pop. It's starting to grow and do exactly what I had planned on it doing. You just reach that moment, whether you have a small little 10 by 10 garden in your backyard, or you're a farmer that is a large monocrop, you have hundreds of acres, or if you're a market gardener like us here in Central Texas, or a market gardener anywhere, you have that moment where you start to see it all come together. And that's the exciting part of gardening. That's the exciting part of planting and doing any kind of gardening or farming, is you have that moment where you can really see it come together. I'll tell you, at the beginning of the season, we had our frustrations. We had a late freeze. Here in Central Texas, we had a freeze that was April the 6th, which is about 6 days beyond what the average. We're supposed to get our last freeze, possibility of the last freeze, April 1st. And of course, this year it was much later. And because of that, we had to replant some of our black-eyed peas. We had carrots that really didn't germinate like they were supposed to. Carrots can be finicky. If they don't have 10 to 12 days of staying moist and wet on those seeds, they just simply will not germinate. But here at Whirlwind Family Farm, as you can see, we have high tunnels, and we also have even more outside crops. So a lot of things have to be done. We have trellising, which has to be done with our tomatoes and also our cucumbers. We have to get our squash out, set in the right places. We try to rotate our squash each year because we're trying to stay ahead of the squash bugs and the insects that can do damage. So we try to do a little bit of rotation to stay ahead of that. And so planning, a lot of planning goes into this. And that can be sometimes frustrating because even though your best plans have been put into place, you can still have insect damage or frost damage, or things just don't quite go like they should. But that's a part of any garden. There's going to be things that don't quite go the way. If you have anything in life, whether it's an automobile, building a home, buying a home, or new job, there can be things that have its frustrations, and gardening is no different. But what I'm here to tell you is, keep this in mind, is that gardening is not as complicated as a lot of shows make it out to be. I'm guilty of that as well. Sometimes I show a little bit too much details. It's good to have the details and know what to do, but it can come off as being a little bit daunting. And here on our channel, at Whirlwind Family Farm, we want to show you the absolute simplicity of gardening. And it's really not as difficult as sometimes a lot of the YouTube channels and a lot of channels will show it out to be. It can be a very simple process. And that's why we always say, if you just start off, if this is your first time to garden, pick out that little part of your backyard. Again, it can be a very small, square, rectangle area. Put in your peas, put in carrots, put in your tomatoes, water, weed, and there again, you're on your way. I always like to say, anybody that's followed our channel for any length of time, I always say if you got sunlight, you got water, you have compost, you're pretty much on your way. And really, that's the simplicity of gardening. But the reason I make this video today is to say it's really a cool thing when you start to see it all come together, when you see the germination, when you see the plants maturing into what they're supposed to be. And then when you start to see them flower, are producing the fruit, producing the vegetables, just like we have out here with our blackberries. These were started a little over 4 years ago, and you start to see those blackberries pop and coming on. It really is a cool thing to see. And it's the same thing with the vegetables. So I'm here to encourage you and say, when you get to, here we are the first week of May, and you look out and you see your garden start to pop, that's when it's just a cool thing. You know that all your effort and your time that you've put into it has really paid off. And the last thing I will say to you about your garden, especially you have a full-time career, you have a family, you have lots of obligations. Small backyard gardens don't take a lot of time and really don't even take a lot of effort. Compost does a great job of doing what it's supposed to do. It'll help keep weeds down. It gives the nutrition to those microorganisms which feed the plants. We have another video that talks about that. You have a light amount of watering. You don't want to overwater or underwater. So when you just do those things weekly, put 2 or 3 hours beginning of the week, end of the week into your garden, you're going to see that it's actually going to do well. It just takes a little bit of attention. So as always, we appreciate you finding Whirlwind Family Farm. For those of you that have been watching us for a couple of years, we appreciate it so much. We appreciate your time. And by the way, if you don't know, I am Jeff. This is Whirlwind Family Farm. We're located here in Central Texas. We are a market garden, but each week we talk about the gardening process and how to take you further along in it. We always have videos on screen that you can click on to take you further in that process. Check those out. We know they're going to be a benefit to you. So blessings over you, your family, and your garden, wherever it may be, no matter how big or how small. Thanks. Talk to you soon.